I love that they're doing that. If I had my way, I almost wrap Porzingis up in bubble
Yeah.
wrap. What a difference that guy makes. Just
Yep.
everything,
Totally agree.
mid-range, three-pointers, and and his defense was just awesome down there.
Welcome back to the Old Bull and Young Calf Boston Sports Podcast. Early Happy New Year. We got another podcast for you. We have some exciting segments. We're going to fit the theme here. Some rough news this week in one sport or a couple sports, but some good news in another. My dad's got our 5 segments. What are we going to show him, Dad?
Well, the Celtics have put the league on notice. They just finished their 10 toughest game stretch of the year with an 8-2 record, lots of blowouts in there. They're at the point now where the national media doesn't even want to talk about them. They're like, Celtics are the team to
Boring.
beat. Injuries will stop. Only thing will stop them. So we don't even get any coverage there, but whatever. We'll be sure to cover them. Number 2, Patriots did not do their job this week. They beat Denver, and now the top 3 quarterbacks are in some serious jeopardy. Uh, we'll tell you why, and it is not good, folks. And the rumors out there also not good. So we'll touch on that.
Yep.
Bruins struggling, stale offense, shaky defense, but we have some good breaking news on them that just came down the pike right now. So stay tuned. We'll let you know what that is. And number 4, we have officially changed our betting segment to WilgsEnFuegoBets. Okay, because yes, he won his lock again. 6 out of 7 locks in the past 7 weeks. I mean, you can't get
Making
much
money.
better than that. So cash money. See who he has this week. You have to at least tune in for that and make some moolah with him. And then number 5, we're going to do our New Year's resolution for our Boston teams, and yeah, see what our wishes are for the year, 2024 with them. And here we go. Start us off, Matt.
Yep. Thanks, Dad. So we're going to jump right into the Celtics. And as my dad said, this past 10 game stretch, in my opinion, I think it was an 8 game stretch. We only dropped one. I know there's been some disagreement here, but since the in-season tournament, we've only dropped one game. A lot of these games, I did query a lot of our listeners, a few of my buddies, and almost everybody thought we were going to drop 2 games in this stretch. And we really showed up and showed out. This podcast is being recorded just after the Pistons game that came down to the wire, super close. The one big thing I want to touch on with the team is how different this team looks in crunch time with Kristaps Porzingis on the court. I think we saw a big difference today in the game in that Pistons game. We were going shot for shot with them at the end of regulation. It was kind of crazy. I think we did go on a 10-0 run. We were up 6, 100 to 106. They get 2 quick threes, and I feel like this is the point when our offense would stagnate and we'd start to go ISO ball. But that just didn't happen with Porzingis out there. Porzingis was doing a great job getting into the paint. He made that amazing pass to White, and the game feels different at the end. Dad, did you feel that same way? Did you notice that?
I
What's
love that
that?
you said that because here's why. When they ran the offense through White and Porzingis, we hummed. It kept getting us back in front when we started to fall behind again. Tatum disappointed me a little bit at the end of this game just because he went back to his old habit. ISO ball. Um, he had some turnovers at the end. He just needs to move the ball like he was in those West Coast games at the end of them. Just get back to that. The ball will find you again. And he got out of the way at the end, which was
Yes.
extraordinary, right? He actually was just camping on the other side of the court. If you go back and watch, and he still almost takes up 2 players because there's two defenders that are still close to him, and it gave Porzingis and White all this room to operate, and they just won us the game. Yeah, I mean, frustrating win, right? One less game for Jaylen Brown. Love that. As you know, I'm all for load management. Get to the starting line. I'm sorry, the finish line. Rest it up. Less injuries. So no Brown. A game we should still be benching our starters by like mid third quarter because we're blowing them out, and then we end up in a dogfight because the Pistons are on a record losing streak and we don't take them seriously. Next thing you know, Tatum is playing crazy minutes,
Yep.
reverting back to some of his old habits. And they
Yep.
didn't even involve Holiday, which drives me nuts sometimes. He had a good little back down hook shot at the
Yep.
end
And
that was
one.
key and a foul in the
Yep.
basket. It's like, let those three play in space. You don't even have Jaylen Brown there. So I'm
Yep.
not saying just disappear Tatum, but don't be a ball magnet. Move
Yeah,
around,
you don't want to be
pass the
a
ball.
ball stopper, right? Yeah, you want that movement. And I
Yes.
think on that last play, I don't know if you recall, but Tatum is backing down. I think he had Cunningham on him. This is the I'm sorry, last play of regulation, and Porzingis cuts on the baseline, and Tatum doesn't find him, and it really sucks because Porzingis had
Yep.
pretty much a wide open bunny or a dunk. So
Yeah.
no, I totally agree. Tatum in this game, I think he had 31 shots and 31 points. Meanwhile, Porzingis had 21 shots and 35 points. I think Scal
Mm.
alluded to this or mentioned this at the end of the broadcast of when's the last time somebody named Brown or Tatum didn't have 30 points had 30 points in a Celtics uniform. So that was awesome. And
Yeah.
just overall, can't say enough about Porzingis. He also settled down his frustrations with the refs. I know he's had a rough time, especially on this season. He was getting a lot of technicals, so it's really nice to see him kind of chill out a little bit. And he had a couple instances where he hung on the rim a bit, and I'm so thankful they cut out those calls. I don't know if somebody from the league called down these refs and just said, "Guys, just like this is the worst
Yeah.
call in the NBA." But yeah, that was a really I know you said it was a rough win, but that's a hungry team. That was their championship. Every game from here until the end of that streak, that's their championship. And we went out there and we battled back. I feel like that is a big win for the team. They had every reason to just be like, all right, the game's over, at halftime. And we came out and we showed them right off the bat. We've really solved our third quarter woes, I think. Do you agree with that, Dad?
That's been nice to see. Our third quarters are usually a disaster, and they haven't been lately. Down 21 points. It was nice to face some adversity, and I'm so
Yeah.
glad they kept the home winning streak intact. It's almost like if this game was on the road, I don't want to say I almost wish the Celtics lost to teach them a lesson. It almost felt like I was so they were like a cat playing with the wounded mouse. Like
Yes.
if you just come out and kill the thing right away, the game's over. But no, you got to play around with it, and then it gets away because you didn't injure it enough. It's like, what are
Yeah.
we doing here? And it's the case because look what happened when they went into halftime and they're like, oh crap, we're in a game. We actually have to try if we
Yeah.
want to win this game.
Crowd was
And they
booing
come
him.
out and they erase that 21-point deficit like that.
Yep.
So it's a little infuriating. I'm glad they faced some adversity. Man, was Porzingis awesome at the end of this game, just unstoppable when he gets that ball, at the top of the key. They just can't jump high enough to block it. And man, what an asset that is so far. We're going
Yep.
to keep preaching this, put him in bubble wrap and, save him for the playoffs. So, which brings me to Olynyk rumors, because it would be nice to have a guy like that to rotate in with Horford and Porzingis, right? Another center who can hit 3-pointers. And, people are down on him because they remember his last stint with the Celtics. He was our number 2 guy then. Isaiah Thomas was our number 1, and Olynyk was kind of a high draft pick. He was like 13th overall. So he was like counted on to be the number 2 guy. He's not a number 2 guy. He's an amazing bench piece if you can have him to rotate in with them. But I have some bad news for you people. I don't know why those rumors are even coming out because it's almost impossible for us to get him. It's 12 million cap hit, and unless you want to give up Horford or Pritchard, we can't get him.
Pritchard
So
and
if you don't
everybody.
want to give
Yeah.
up those two, yeah, you basically would have to give up. They have five guys making 2 million. You'd have to give up basically all 5 of them.
Yeah. And to put
So
numbers to that, Olynyk's making 12 million this year because we are where we are in the salary situation. We need to exceed Olynyk's cap. We cannot take in more than we're giving out. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on, everybody. And right now we are about a month and a half out from the trade deadline. And we will probably have like maybe a spin-off episode of our podcast and just kind of an analytical view with a crowdsourced data from Reddit, from, our different, fan pages and everything, where we explain what being in I think the second apron means to the team, right? Because there's a lot of pipe dreams. People are bringing up a lot of names, but the reality is we just can't make a lot of that happen, as my dad mentioned, without gutting our team, because the salaries need to work out. And yeah, so Olenek would be nice. It's not going to happen unless we want to get rid of Horford. And I think Horford still has enough in the tank. And I think the team really needs Horford out there. Horford was big this game. He had a huge rebound. I think
Yeah.
he's the one who got the rebound, kicked it out to Porzingis. Porzingis then found White, I think. I don't know if that's the exact play, but you know, I don't want to get rid of Horford. Olenek's nice, but we'll see. I think touching on the third quarter thing, right? At one point, I think a few weeks ago, I mentioned that we were the worst third quarter team in the league net rating wise. Today we scored 35 and held them to 16. That's absurd. That's plus 19 for us. Against the Lakers, we scored 41 and held them to 33. So that's plus 8. The Clippers, we scored 38 plus, and versus their 30, that's plus 8. And versus the Kings, that was, a magical third quarter that we addressed in the last episode. It was 39 to 24. So, I've dogged on Missoula, but I do appreciate his ability to make things happen in the third quarter and kind of fix our third quarter problem. I don't know what he's doing, but I appreciate the adjustments. I appreciate the teams. I think they made it a point to be like, we're not that bad in the third quarter, and really show people what they were about. What other thoughts you have, Dad, on this past couple of games? I know we played the
It's funny you
Lakers.
say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was, before you said that, I was going to say, hey, especially you're a wicked Missoula hater. I was gonna say you have to give him some credit for that. The
Oh
third
yeah.
quarter adjustments, the third quarter, he has to be a part of that. I don't think it's necessarily the players who took it upon themselves to fix that. So, the coaching staff, maybe Sam Cassell in there, remember Van Gundy's in the wings too. So, hopefully they're all pitching in, and that's nice to see them fix that, because that was a huge problem last year, especially in the playoffs. Our third quarters were just garbage. We put ourselves in these tough positions. If we had a big lead going into the half, it'd be gone by the fourth quarter. Or if it was a tight game, we'd have to be playing comeback in the fourth quarter. So it's nice to see that. And yeah, so we have to give the little guy credit there. Yeah. But as
Yep.
far as that second apron you talked about, I don't know if I brought it up on this podcast. I've been discussing it lately. I know I did with you. It is so big for us to win the championship this year.
Yep.
Not to be
Completely
Captain
agree.
Obvious. It is so big because you have no idea how much money these owners make when they win the championship. So if we want to re-sign Derek White and Drew Holiday and be way over the apron and take in all these tax penalties, if you want Wick Grossbeck to do that, we really need to win the championship to get him that extra revenue. So he's willing to do that to get another championship. So that is an underrated key factor here, folks. Trust
Yep.
me, you want that. That's how the Golden State Warriors have kept that team together, and they brought in key pieces, paying them 25, 30 million a year because
Yep.
they kept winning, and they could just pay Andrew Wiggins, they can pay Jordan Poole, they can pay any guy like that, Chris Paul. Like,
Yep.
what we're just gonna keep giving us the penalties. We don't
And
care. We want a shot at the championship because it brings in that much money.
yep, and I think that's a look into Banner 20, right? So I totally agree. And now the
Yeah.
Warriors are like one of the highest value franchises in the NBA. So no,
Yeah.
big win. The Lakers game was tough. We jumped out to a really big lead against the Lakers, and we kind of fell off. Anthony Davis gave us a lot of fits. One thing I did appreciate, I think Porzingis did a pretty good job on a lot of the possessions I saw of him against Davis. I mean, overall, I liked how the team responded. We kind of got punched in the mouth in a very hostile environment. The Lakers stadium is, electric for them. Not so much the Clippers. I think the Clippers, there was more Celtics fans, but yeah, and people were dogging them. They kind of crapped on their hot start, but I was definitely excited to see us come out of that game with a win, especially in LA.
Yeah, and by the way, Anthony Davis, I think was -3
-6.
for the game.
6.
Oh, -6, something like that. Yeah. So, it just goes to show that there's a lot of fluff points there. So
Yep.
great win, great road trip. 8-2, man, I will take it. That was a tough stretch they went through. I'm proud of them. They did amazing. So I have a question for you, Matt. Controversial
Sure.
question. Uh, with the veteran cast, I know there's probably other teams that have thought this too. And you get him on a temporary contract where you can cut him at any time. What do you think about bringing in Cousins, Boogie Cousins?
DeMarcus Cousins. I think that would be a horrible decision. I think Nemus and it's completely unrelated to his attitude and everything like that. I think he just doesn't have the legs anymore. I'm actually pretty happy with Kada. Kada actually was -10 today with
I
three
do like
personal
Kata.
fouls.
I want
But
another 3-point shooting big man though, center. I would
the,
love another
yeah,
one.
I don't know if listen, you're like a dragon right now, okay? And you're sitting on your hoard of gold and treasure. I just want one more skilled big man
One
that
more
can
nugget.
hit threes. And speaking of big men like that, it does suck that we couldn't get Tice over here. That was kind of surprising that Tyson ended up back on the Celtics. I don't know what the logistics were of that, but the Bulls let him go, and he was on the Clippers. It was very under the radar, and against us, he hit two threes.
Quick.
He went 5 for 5. It was kind of surprising. I would have liked to see Daniel Tyson in a Celtics uniform in that third line center. Over Luke Cornett. Luke Cornett, he's good, but he's been getting hurt a lot, and he's also he just seems so clumsy out there. Where it seemed like Tice was a bit more put together. So yeah, is that you saying you would want DeMarcus Cousins?
Um, I would want to take a chance on it if it was set up correctly, as in you might not play 1 minute this year. The second, the second you act out, you're literally just going to be escorted out of the building. If he could just completely play ball with his talent and give us like 12 minutes a game, with his elite 3-point shooting and rebounding, I don't know. I might think
No,
about it.
Dad.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
he's a career 33%. He played last time he played was in 2022, and he was 27% from three on the Bucks and 32% from three on the Nuggets. I mean, he's 33 years old. I don't know if he's an immense talent anymore. I mean, 4 years ago maybe, but no. I mean, right now he's playing for a Taiwan Beer Leopards. So
I know. Get him cheap.
stay over there. Stay over there.
All
Uh,
right. Probably a bad
yeah.
idea. But anyway, with
Who would be, who, has been talked and linked to the Celtics before is that Burks guy. He took 12 threes tonight. Oh my
no, I
goodness.
don't like him. I
Alec
don't like
Burks,
him.
he's 32. That guy can
The
shoot,
Stewart
but
guy on the Pistons. The
no,
Stewart. There's been some
he
talk
won't.
of him, but he's only 6'7",
Yeah.
you
And
know.
Alex
And I don't
Burks
think
is
they'd give
making
him up.
Alex Burks is 3 years, 30 million. Isaiah
Ah, forget that. No.
Isaiah Stewart is about to start a crazy contract too. They just
Oh,
gave him
is
a
he? They don't want him then.
$64 million 4 year, 64 million. So
Oh, never mind. I
yeah,
don't want him either. No.
yep. So I think that's the Celtics, guys. There's a lot to talk about there. It's pretty much most of our positivity from this point on in the podcast. So ready to put our Debbie Downer hats on, and we can move on to segment number 2. Now I don't know what my dad did this year. Actually, I kind of have a few ideas of what my dad did this year, but he got coal in his stocking this Christmas, and it came
Mhm.
early on Christmas Eve. We opened stockings on Christmas Eve, obviously, because the Patriots found a way to beat the Denver Broncos. And I do have to say a disclaimer. My dad and I are not of the opinion that Patriots players should intentionally lose the game. We believe that they should play their hardest and do their best and show up every day like they are and celebrate their wins. The only realistic tank that could happen in football is in the front office and for the head coach. And there's just no way that Bill Belichick's going to tank. He's just not like that. He showed us he's not going to tank at the deadline. You saw a GM tanking in Washington, trading their best defensive players, not doing anything else, right? We do not expect the Patriots to tank, but that does not mean that we want to draft in the middle of the draft. We
As
love the
fans,
Patriots. Yes, as fans, we're just thinking about. And this was in
losing.
the intro a few episodes ago. We just want to watch winning football as soon as possible, and I guess competitively
Just
winning
not this
football,
year.
right? Yeah, yeah. So tough game. We beat the Broncos. We beat the doors off them for the most part. But then second half, Bailey Zappi, we really didn't get much done. And Russell started to come back. Russell Wilson. Um, what do you have to say about the game, Dad? Wise, before we get into the implications?
So again, when I did my 3 pros and 3 cons to keep Belichick or to get rid of him mid-season, one of them absolutely
Yeah,
came to fruition. I said, if you keep him, he's still Bill Belichick. I guarantee he's going to win one game he should not have. And there you go. Stupid Denver Bronco game. What a killer that is. Absolute killer. And I have to apologize to our listeners. And apparently, I've been giving you bad information. The reverse tiebreaker does not exist. I guess the number one tiebreaker is, in fact, strength of schedule. So even though we're tied with Washington and they beat us, they're still ahead of us because of strength of schedule. So I'm really, in my defense, though, we're not used to being in a situation where we're
yeah,
tanking for high draft picks. So I didn't know the rules. I apologize for giving you bad info. So and we are going to win that stupid Jets game at Foxborough. No Aaron Rodgers. We're going to end up with 5 wins. And I'm telling you, we might end up seventh, eighth, ninth in this draft. And you know who can tank us? Robert Kraft. Shame on him. Kraft should have got rid of Belichick midseason. Whoever came in to replace him, he should have said, hey, this Cunningham kid, play him. Let's just see what we have. Hey,
yeah,
these young kids, I want to see what they look like. Play them.
yeah,
That's the guy who really could have had us tank. I blame Robert Kraft. He kept Belichick. I don't know. He didn't want to
yeah,
hurt the
yeah,
legend's
yeah,
feelings or whatever. Kraft is one responsible for this. And I got some more bad news for you people. The mock drafts and the rumors are coming out. The quarterbacks, those 3 quarterbacks, a lot of experts feel like they're going 1, 2, 3, baby. One,
yep,
two, three. And if we're drafting 6, 7, 8, we're gonna have to give up a lot of draft capital to get up to those spots. Matt, what do
yeah,
you
yeah.
think about all that crap?
No, I totally agree. I don't know if I'd blame Kraft. I think he's trying to show Belichick the respect that, I think we can both agree Belichick deserves, right? Letting him finish out the season.
It's
But
gonna cost us now. It might cost us one of the 3 franchise
yeah,
quarterbacks.
this
But go
is
ahead.
true. So, like my dad mentioned, strength of schedule comes into play. And this is where it starts to suck people because right now we're drafting fourth. If we win that Jets game, we'll have 5 wins and we're almost guaranteed to draft after the Giants. And we're only 0.003 strength of schedule worse than the Chargers and the Titans. So we're gonna have to start looking at the other teams, schedules and who they've played against, and this is where it gets super complicated. And we're gonna be like Charlie Day and Always Sunny in Philadelphia, you know, at the cork board, like trying to connect the dots because
Yeah.
it gets confusing here. And really, it means, like my dad said, there's a good chance we're not going to have Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, or Drake May. And if we don't get one of those guys, the question is,
It's a
who can we
disaster.
get? Yeah, who can we get that's going to be an impact player for this team going forward? So we would be out of Marvin Harrison Jr. territory as well. So there's the neighbors kid who plays for LSU. He's an electrifying wide receiver. Or there's the Belichick way. And if Belichick stays, you know, this is probably the one time we wouldn't fault him. the possibility of trading back, Dad? What would you do? How would you feel, Dad, if we're picking 8th and we
If we're
trade back?
picking eighth, um, I wouldn't even care really. I'd be so out of it. If we're eighth, I actually want to trade our draft capital to get up into the top three, and that would kill us
Wow.
because that's the point of finishing so bad. Is you also get early picks in the second round, third round, fourth round. So we'd have to probably give up a lot of those picks. I need the franchise quarterback, and we try to educate the fans here, and I still see people on Facebook and out there. Great win by the Patriots. Good job, boys. You people don't understand. If even one of these quarterbacks ends up being an elite top three franchise quarterback someday, that is what you rooted against. I'm just letting you know that because we don't know. We don't know if the Patriots were in the top three, if they would have taken that guy. Maybe all three of them end up being awesome. Even if just one of them, you just remember that, people. Be careful what you would good giving the team a pat on the back. Again, we're not asking the players to actually tank. What we're saying is, as fans, if if you're educated and you want really what's best for the team's future, you root against them winning for the rest of this year. It's as simple as that. So, I mean, if we're eighth and we have no shot to get one of those three guys, I mean, whatever, trade back, get a million picks. I don't know,
Yep.
and take quarterbacks in the third round, fourth round, fifth round, and hope we catch lightning in a bottle. And you
Yep.
know how I feel about that, Matt. People like to
Yep.
say that, throw that in our face. What about Brady and Russell Wilson and Prescott? Yeah, okay. And give me a pen and paper. I'll name 20 of them for every one you name that are just never even make an impact at all. That are quarterbacks that are drafted in the second round, third round, fourth round, fifth round. I give you 20, I'll give you 30 of them probably for every one
Yeah.
guy
Yeah.
you name. So
And everybody, I think we did the segment too early in our podcast, and when we talked about what Felger and Maz say, right? And these people are probably listening to Felger and Maz. Felger and Maz saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter where you draft a quarterback." Doesn't We did the numbers, everybody, and I shared these numbers with somebody, and they said
you know,
their phrasing was that may be true. I'm like, no, it's not. That may be
it is
true.
true.
That is true. That's true.
Yeah.
Since
Yeah.
2010, playoff wins by the top 2 quarterbacks taken total 68 playoff wins. In the second round, you're looking at 16 total playoff wins since 2010. And it's just, if you don't pick one of the first 2 quarterbacks, you're almost doomed to not get a playoff win. And the idea that if your team's at the bottom of the draft, you're not going to get playoff wins, that's just flat out wrong, because the top 2 quarterbacks taken are usually taken pretty high in the draft. These are taken by bad teams. They turn it around. Now, there's one thing working in our favor here. The Carolina Panthers might be the most embarrassing team in NFL, right? They traded their first round pick. They traded their second or third pick to get the first pick. And then they give away the number 1 pick the next year. So the benefit is teams might be a little bit more gun shy at trading boatloads of picks because they don't want to be the next Carolina Panthers, right? It's embarrassing for the organization. Their coach got fired. I think I don't know if their GM got fired or not, but that might work in our favor and prevent teams from trading up. I don't know how you feel about that, Dad, but
Yeah, and you
crossing
want
my
to root
fingers
for a
that works in
couple
our
things.
favors.
Yeah. You want to root for Justin Fields to do well for the rest of the year so the
Yep.
Bears keep him. You want to, I don't know who else, the Cardinals. I mean, did they move on from Kyler
Kyler Murray.
Murray? You
Yep.
eh, the Giants, I almost guarantee the Giants will do something to get rid of Daniel Jones. They're not happy with him. The Titans will definitely, I don't care about Levis, whatever his name is. If one of those quarterbacks falls to the Titans and the Titans are ahead of us, they're taking one of those three quarterbacks. So, Matt, I hope you're right there. It's a good point. Hopefully that, you know, teams that are a little gun
Man,
shy to make plays and jump up and grab a quarterback, and
yeah.
so we'll see.
I mean, what's the phrase, right? Hope in one hand, spit in the other, see which one fills up faster. And so we're stuck hoping, everybody. We don't got any, this spitting's not going to do us anything. So,
Yeah.
yeah, the one good, it'll give us opportunity to, dive into some things on the podcast, talk about, different players. But we'll see. I think we still should do the Frank the Tank Commander segment. So my dad will walk us through um, the important games this week. And next week, I think I'll take some more time to after the Bills game, because if we win that Bills game, all bets are off, right? Then it's like we're drafted in the middle of the first round, right? And so I won't bore everybody right now, but my dad will let us know the big hitters of this week. All right. So let me take a switch to my other screen.
Yeah.
All right, Dad. So here's the schedule. What are
Yep.
the heavy hitters for us this week?
So it's not good. We need a Titans win, and unfortunately, they're on the road against Houston, who is fighting for a playoff spot. So, I mean, not an insurmountable game.
Yeah.
So, there is some hope there. And
Their quarterback is
Panthers,
out.
forget it.
Most likely, the Texans quarterback might be out with a concussion. Stroud.
Well, that helps, that's for sure. Forget about Panthers. They're not winning two more games, and that's for sure. So basically, we're not catching them. The Cardinals, add the Eagles, forget it.
Yeah.
There's like zero chance of that happening. So not good news. The Commanders at home against San Francisco after San Francisco got their butts kicked. No shot there whatsoever. Doom and gloom, baby. And the rest of these games are Chargers.
Well,
I mean, at Denver, we need the Chargers to win. So, and they're in turmoil right now. They're starting Jared Stidham. So, we need a Chargers win bad. We don't want them leapfrogging us as well. And after that,
the Giants,
the Giants. Where are the Giants?
5-10. They're
Oh,
hosting
right
the
there.
Rams.
The Rams, who are fighting for a playoff spot, who've been playing pretty good lately. Not much hope there, but we can keep our fingers crossed again. Not insurmountable. Hopefully, it's cold and miserable in New York. And, the Rams, LA Dome team don't show up. So,
Yeah, Tyrod
fingers
Taylor
crossed.
came in, played a decent enough game for him. So we'll see. And
Yeah.
again, we need the Patriots' strength of schedule. Everybody, it means more than we even thought it meant, right? So the Jets
Yeah.
losing here is good for us because again, it makes us look worse. Cowboys losing, we want the Cowboys to lose against the Lions. That's actually an important game for us. Cowboys beat us. We want the Cowboys to lose. Dolphins losing is good for us. Bears Falcons does not matter outside of the Bears. Just getting a seventh win would be nice. Titans, as my dad shared, was Titans game. The Raiders and Colts, this game does not matter. It doesn't matter who wins this one because we face them both. Panthers winning would be nice. Giants, Cardinals, Saints, Buccaneers. We need the Saints to win this game. I'm sorry, to lose this game because again, it would make us look worse. So root against the Saints. Commanders, my dad touched on. Steelers, we want the Steelers to lose. That's an important game for us. Bengals, Chiefs, we want the Chiefs to lose, and that's just a bonus. Who doesn't love to root against the Chiefs? Screw you, Patrick Mahomes. You're a shell of yourself. You suck. You suck. And then Packers, Vikings. We didn't face either of those guys. So that's the Frank the Tank Commander segment, everybody. There's a lot of things that us Patriots fans, at least in the last 20 or so years, have not had to think about. And hopefully we're providing you with good information from this point on, where we're helping you understand what we need to do to draft a better player. And, again, don't hate us for this, everybody. It's not, all you people who want wins every week, there's no hard feelings from us. Okay. We just want a better draft pick. We want better draft picks. Because as my dad says, if you draft better in the first round, you draft better in the second, third, fourth, fifth. That's where it gets important. So
Yep.
any other thoughts on the Patriots, Dad?
No, I've had enough of them. Let's move on to the Bruins.
All right. Segment number 3. And, as I shared at the top of the podcast, they don't get too cheery from here. Last segment, pretty doom and gloom. The Bruins have been on a downturn. Oh man, has it been pretty crazy? The only benefit is that we had built a pretty big cushion between us and the rest of our conference. So we're still, 4 points ahead of the Panthers, and we have a game in hand. Got a big win last night against Buffalo. Bad team, but we showed up. We put them, away, which was really big. Charlie Coyle stepped up big for us. But for a bit there, it felt like we had completely lost our way. We got our teeth kicked in on the road, before and after Christmas. I'm sorry, before Christmas, that Christmas weekend, Friday and Saturday, the back to back. Really a very stale offensive effort. We did have three goals against Minnesota on Tuesday of last week, but I think we actually touched on the podcast. But over the weekend, we had 2 games, 3 goals combined in those 2 games, and we gave up 8. My dad touched on this early in the year, but shaky defensive play that was kind of getting masked by the goalies. And once again, when our goalies can't stand on their heads, we get absolutely exposed. So rough kind of 2-game stretch over the weekend with a win this past game. Any thoughts on these Bruins, Dad?
It hasn't been good, but I tell you what, I'm going to put a positive spin on this right now because, you know, I love that they're facing some adversity. They faced zero adversity for the entire year, broke all those records. What this does is hopefully wakes the team up a little, wakes the front office up. Maybe something gets done there. I like it. I don't let them finish with the 8th seed. I don't care. All right. I don't want a repeat of last year. Let them do what they need to do to get themselves on track, play the right players. Lowry has been really good, had an excellent goal the other night, not because of the shot, but the play he made entering the zone and at the blue line, where he made an amazing play to get in the zone, and then he passed the puck. Someone shot it, and he crashed the net. Perfect rebound, and he buried it. But
Yep.
he's been playing much better. That is good. That's a good sign. That'll boot Grzelcyk out of the rotation come playoff time. If God forbid he's still with this team, let him face some adversity. Let them
Yep.
hear, that they can't just throw the pucks out there and just beat everybody like they did last year. So I like that they're facing some adversity. Hopefully the front office does something about it, to shake up this scoring because it's been awful. And as we touched upon at the beginning, some more good news. We have breaking news. As my son brought up to me before we came on, they are bringing up who is really considered their second top prospect now. I mean, apparently he's moved ahead of Lysol. This Merkulov kid has been lighting up the
Georgie.
AHL. Yep, Georgie, and he's coming up, and hopefully he adds a spark to our offense. Hopefully they don't bury him on the 4th line with, Lauko. Hopefully they give him some time with, Marchand, Pasternak, see what the kid can do. So I'm excited for that because let me tell you, I always enjoy watching the Bruins, but it's taken some of the luster out of it, not being able to follow Patras. Like, I
Yes,
love
100%.
tuning into the games just to watch him, just to see him develop. He is like a young Patrice Bergeron to me, and he is by far the closest thing we have to a possible number 1 center. Because let me tell you something. The other ones aren't. What's his name? I'm drawing a blank here.
Iki, Beecher, Brown, Coyle, Lauko, Zaka.
None of them are ever going to be number 1 centers. I'm sorry, people. Ever. All those people, my son, solid 3rd line centers, 4th line centers. Zaka is good, a pretty good 2nd line center. He will never be a 1st line center. We need that 1st line center. We don't have good cap space coming up. That kid is our best hope. So I do miss watching him. He's playing good in I guess in the Canadian Cup, whatever it is, the
Yeah.
World Cup.
World
He's got 2
Juniors.
goals in 2 games. Yep. So, get him up here and, get him back from that. Hopefully this kid flashes, this Merkulov kid, and gives us some hope. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think of that positivity, Matt?
No, I do appreciate it. And I mean, that's where it has to go, right? I think when you and I talked about the Bruins start of season, one of the things I said I wanted more than anything was to find out what we had in Providence, right? Find out what we had and the picks that we've taken and not rely on these older guys too much and then, avoid growth. So Patra with those 2 goals in the World Juniors. One of them was an empty netter, so it was kind of it's kind of tough. And the other one was 1 goal and a no assist and a 10-0 win. So would have liked to see him participate more there. But I mean, at this point, we talked about getting Patra time, but Merkelov's coming up. We have last game 7 people identified as centers positionally. So that's without Patra. That's without Merkelov. It's going to get kind of weird here. Like you mentioned, Lauko, that speedster, does Lauko move down? Lauko and Brown both only had about 7 minutes of ice time. So where does Patra and Merkelov slide in? Is Merkelov just up here? He's probably only up here not to spoil his contract. I doubt he stays on the roster unless he makes a case like Patra. But I'd like to see him, on one of those top 1 or 2 lines, with a couple of veterans, really see what he can do with talent on either side of him, because he definitely doesn't have that in Providence. And the question is does this make Lysol say, "Oh, they will move me up if I step up. If I buy in, I play Bruins hockey, I will get to the NHL." Or does Lysol, crawl into his little hole and say, woe is me. I'm so talented and they're not bringing me up. What do you think Lysol is going to end? Where do you think he's going to end up on that spectrum, Dad? I mean, it's completely, you know, just opinion
Yeah,
based.
you know
What do
what
you think?
though? We started out as foes, but after that courageous act of agreeing with me, okay, I feel like maybe at some point we could become friends and we could possibly ride majestic steeds into the
There you
hockey
go.
sunset.
I know that we started out as foe, but after that courageous act that you showed me against the one they call Derek, maybe someday we could become friends. Friends who ride majestic, translucent steeds.
Because Patras, Merkelov, that could motivate them, right? That can motivate Lysol, who was our number 1 prospect before Patras took over. So, and we need that because we don't have draft picks, as I keep saying. It is so important for these young kids to develop. We need to play them. We need them to develop because we have nothing to trade. All right. So that is crucial. And,
Do you
hopefully it
think
does light
you
a
think
fire under him.
yeah.
Hopefully it does motivate him. Like, oh well, they will promote me. I didn't make the team coming out of camp, and I was wearing saggy diapers at league for that. But maybe I need to start working, and yeah, it'll get it done.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Lorai had the 4th most time on ice for our defenseman at 19 minutes, 45 seconds. I don't know if Grizzlick
Like that.
was hurt, but I definitely noticed a large lack in breakaways for the Buffalo Sabres, and Grizzlick wasn't playing. Wonder if that's a
No,
coincidence or not.
probably not.
Again,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, he was, yeah. So, yeah, Grizzlick has been out the last couple of games. Look like he hasn't played since the 19th, which was that last game I saw that breakaway from Minnesota. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a world where his draft capital goes up. We will need to do somewhat of a trade episode, trade deadline episode for the Bruins. Dive a bit deeper into what is available around the league and what works cap wise. It does suck that the trade deadline is so far away. So doing it too soon is a bit, it would be a bit silly. But like my dad said, hopefully we continue to get a better idea what these prospects are. I'd like to see, maybe Merkelov can move to the wing. I don't, maybe I have to do some research here and figure out what he's been playing down in Providence. Has he played any winger? Is that something that he has in his history? So we can kind of report back and see how he could slot into this team who has, a kind of a embarrassment of riches of these second, third round, third line centers, like my dad said.
Yeah. Great. A lot of
Yeah.
riches there.
Yeah.
So
So trying to think anything else Bruins that we want to touch on. I guess we could probably talk about this upcoming week for them at a minimum, unless you have something else to add.
yeah, the Rangers are starting to pull away from them. So again, like we don't get the number 1 seed. I don't freaking care. Who cares? Get yourself right for the playoffs. That's what I care about. Best possible lineup. Get in rested. Get in humble. okay? Instead of chasing stupid records like last year that got us 2 injuries, key injuries at the last game of the year in a useless game to Bergeron and freaking Omar. Like, what a stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. So, between now and the next podcast drop, we have New Jersey. We're hosting New Jersey. New Jersey, that team that struggles with goaltending, and we only scored 1 goal on.
Yeah,
We got to face them at home. Detroit, who we have faced twice
You
this year,
should
and they
get like
scored.
5 goals.
Detroit scored 4 goals. Oh wait, no, we beat them 4-1. Then they beat us 5-4. Then they beat us 5-2. So
Yeah.
they've had 10 goals in the last 2 games against us. We're going to their house. Last time we played in their house, we lost 5-4. So hopefully we can pull that out. That's almost like a matinee game at 5 o'clock. Then we also have Columbus, the Blue Jackets. I don't know how they've been.
They spanked us 1 game this year. Another game we should have won.
Yeah, we beat them 3-1.
Didn't score.
I'm trying to think. Is that yeah, they beat us 5-2 back around Thanksgiving time. You're right.
5-2, we lose to Columbus. Oh,
Yeah, they only
gross.
have 29 points
that
this
outta
year.
here.
So there is no reason the Bruins shouldn't come away with 6 points, or 5 or 6 points
Yeah.
over this next 3-game stretch between now and the next podcast. So crossing our fingers there. Go Bruins. We'll see how all that goes. Any thoughts on the Bruins, Dad, from this point?
No. Love a little adversity. Bring it their way.
All right.
I'm good with it.
All right, everybody. I'm going to call 911 to get a fire department over here because we're starting a hot segment. All right.
Oof.
Just going to have the fire marshal standing on guard because we're about to get a hot take from Anthony Wilga. Anthony, let us know the lock of the week, my friend.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another week of Wilgs Basement Bets. Hit the lock last week with the Falcons. Nice, easy win for us. This week, I'm going with one lock. It makes me nervous because there's 80% of tickets on this game. But we're going Bucks -3 versus the Saints. I just can't take Derek Carr seriously. He's been terrible this year. Bucks are playing for the NFC South. I think it's a great spot for him, and I think we can get Bucks -3. So let's toss it in. Let's make some money this week.
All right. Ant was been in the lab, and again, he came up with a 1,000 Scoville take here. Oh, my dad's pulling out the cards. He's got,
I'm draining the credit cards, getting all the cash out I can for them, and just emptying it and putting it all on that.
Because I mean, there's not many sure things in this life. It's, death, taxes, and Anthony Wilga's locks of the week. Because that's what it's felt like for the past, almost, 6 out of 7 weeks. I've been putting money on it. I got bonus bets from ESPN Bet every week. I put money on it. I'm making money over here, everybody, over hand and fist. It's actually nice because it's covering my losses and all my other bets. So thanks, Anthony, for keeping me above water.
Leave it to the professionals, man. Stop it.
Yeah, I need to. Yeah, everything else is just. But yes, thanks, Anthony. Any final thoughts on his bets, Dad?
No, let's move on to our New Year's resolutions.
All right, segment number 5, and like I said, this podcast we have a theme here, right? New Year's is coming up for everybody who's tuning in, so we're gonna do New Year's resolutions, and like my dad said, all Boston teams. So the Red Sox are sort of starting to creep into the podcast. They had it, we touched on it, a bit with the Ohanti and the Yamato last week, but their New Year's resolution, my dad and I are both of the same opinion. Loosen the purse strings. Start spending money like you are one of the most valued franchises in sports, right? It's super embarrassing that we went from Bloom, who didn't make moves, but at a minimum, he did make us a very good farm system, to the new guy, Breslow, who seems to be almost even tighter than Bloom with his salary and everything like that. What are your comments on that, Dad?
We've already wasted too much time talking about the Red Sox. When they justify our time, we will do it. When you start acting like the Red Sox and spending some money, we will start talking about you. But until then, when you just And listen, John Henry, the owners, I love them. 4 World Series, love them, respect, just like Belichick, love you, respect you, but it's time to move on. And hopefully they sell the team because this just trying to make money, I don't like it. And simple as that. We've already wasted
Yep.
too much time. Let's move on.
All right, so we'll stick black and gold here. We would just talk about the Bruins prior to the betting segment. So my New Year's resolution for the Boston Bruins is make trade deadline moves. Right, start looking around around the league, making calls. I have two things I want. One of them is a pony. The other one is socks. Right. The pony is I'd like a 1A center. My dad touched on this. We don't have that 1A center. It'd be great to get one in here. That is a bit big of an ask. I don't know if mommy, daddy make that much money. If that's going to happen, my pair of socks is free up cap space, and I'd like to not do that at the expense of our draft picks. I'm hoping some contender, other contender, maybe in the West, sees some value in Grizzlick, and a couple of our guys who are making, around 3 to 4 million, and we're going to go into all that, and they give us some of their. No, not Carlo at all, and they give us some of their cap space. Some of their
Carlo
draft
might throw.
capital. So. Yeah, I think that's my Bruins. What's your Bruins resolution? New Year's resolution, Dad?
My resolution is I want Montgomery to take a page out of the NBA handbook, and I want to see them start load managing Marchand. People don't realize this. Marchand's 35 years old. He has a lot of tread on his tires. I want to see him play less throughout the rest of the season. Give these kids a chance. Let Patriots and this Merkelov kid give them his games where he's off. Maybe even Lysol, if he gets his act together, can come out toward the end of the year. I care about cup runs. That's what I care about. I don't give a crap about Marchand and getting 100 points, any of that garbage. He's by far the oldest guy on the team, 35 years old. I want to get to the playoffs in the best possible position to win. So that is my New Year's resolution, Montgomery. Monitor that situation, start getting him to sit out some games, keep him fresh for the playoffs. Oh, Matt, we can't hear you.
Holy crap, you are right. He is our second highest was it like winger or like what is it? Frontline guy. What am I missing? Forward. He's our second highest forward in minutes. He's played every single game this season. You are totally right. Montgomery, get your head out of your butt, guy. Like, we do not need to finish. This is not the President's Cup is not the goal. Find a way to get our guys to the finish line healthy. Shame on him. I didn't even know it was that bad. So really good New Year's resolution. Maybe you should make a call, to TD Garden and let him know, because that's ridiculous. Totally agree. That's a good one. So next one, actually number 3, the Boston Celtics. New Year's resolution: Joe Mazzulla, Sam Cassell, get in the lab and work on our after timeout plays. I would love to see some creativity and diversity in our after timeout plays. I'd like to see things at the end of the game, the final possession, whether it starts in Tatum's hands, ends in Tatum's hands, I don't care. But I would love to see something that's not Tatum going like this and then him backing down or dribbling between his legs, because this team is way too talented for that. We're not the Pistons. We don't need Cade Cunningham taking every shot. I would love to see that. Give me some after timeout play creativity. That's my New Year's resolution for the Celtics.
Time to throw some flowers your way. I love that, Matt. You know what? While you're at it, throwing Brad Stevens and Van Gundy. Get some damn plays that work. After timeout plays, 10 seconds left on the clock. Again, tonight. Again, I want an ice cold killer. I want an assassin. I want a Larry Bird. I get Jason Tatum doing a fadeaway and missing.
Brick, yeah.
Again. So, we have these dominant offensive players, drop some damn plays. I love that resolution. Good job there, Matt. Mine's not as eventful. Uh, you know, our bench, Pritchard on the road struggles shooting threes. Hauser is so damn streaky. If we get to the playoffs and the moment is too big for those two guys, we're in trouble because you can't run with 6 players in the playoffs. You'll just burn yourselves out. I really want to see them start giving Brissett, Stevens, and um, who's the other who's the point
Svi?
guard, the other backup point guard,
Not you,
the
do you
guy I'm
mean
forgetting.
Svi? The
Banton.
Mihailuk?
Banton.
Oh, Banton. Oh, Banton's vanished. You're
Start
right.
start giving those 3 guys some real minutes to see what we have there. Because if you throw them in playoff time because the moment's too big for Hauser and Pritchard, well, those guys haven't played all damn year. What you got to get? You expect a lot out of them at that point?
Yep.
No. You know, I still assume Stevens is going to make a move to bring one more guy in. Okay, great. So now you have 7. I'd like to see 9-guy rotation in the playoffs because keep in mind, I want us rested. And I'm anticipating us blowing out some teams in the playoffs. So I want guys, when we're trying to preserve Tatum, Brown's, Holiday's minutes, I want guys that can come in the game and finish the game and not give up a big lead. And we have to bring those guys back in. So start getting those guys in, even if it costs us a couple games, it costs us a couple losses. I want to see more of those guys.
Yep. I mean, I think we see it with Neesmith, right? We had Neesmith on our team. He's really become a kind of complete player for the Pacers. And, Udoka iced him out, didn't give him the chance to spread his wings. And, now he's finishing out games for them and he's doing it pretty cold blooded. He gave us some fits. He's given a lot of teams some fits this year. So, no, I think that's a good one, Dad. I would love to see them. And Banton looks good out there. And you could tell he's got the jitters, right? He's got to get some, a little bit longer of a leash. Mihailuk as well. I knew you didn't mention him, but I like that guy too. He makes some plays as well. So, yeah. All right. So next up, we'll move on to the New England Patriots. So my New Year's my New Year's resolution for them is something that I don't think they've done much of this year. And that's make moves with the future in mind. I would like to get a new regime in here, right? But if the new regime doesn't come in and Kraft tries to keep Belichick and I just want whoever's here to make moves for a championship run within the next 3 to 5 years. I think the lack of trades at the deadline was put a really bad taste in my mouth. And it was a really bad sign that we just were not taking things seriously. I also think the lack of signing DeAndre Hopkins, considering the fact that he's coming up on another 1,000-yard season. DeAndre Hopkins is playing with Will Levis and he's playing with Tannehill, and he's going to get another 1,000-yard season. And here we are without a 1,000-yard wide receiver yet again. So I would like to see us make moves for the future, sign some players, and get me excited about the Patriots again because it's really hard right now. That's mine, Dad.
Yeah. Good thing we had that cap space that we never used. Okay. That we could have used on Hopkins. But anyway, so my resolution is pretty simple. I would just love to see Robert Kraft step down and hand the team over to his son, Jonathan.
Wow.
To me, Jonathan is more of a businessman, right? Kraft, he's too much. He's getting older. He's becoming too much of a fan. His heart is in it too much.
I know.
Listen, it's still a business. And I would love to see Jonathan take over because I feel like Jonathan would have been like, Bill, you're not doing the job. You're done, son. Beat it. And Kraft is just, again, I hope he was the one guy who could have tanked us this year. Get rid of Belichick early. Whoever comes in, say, listen, I don't care what you do, but I want Cunningham starting at quarterback. I want to see what he can do. And I'm not going to tell you my other reason why. We all know what it is, but that's what I want. Yeah. And you know what? We would have the number 1 pick right now because we wouldn't have won another game for the rest of the year. So I would love to see Jonathan Kraft take over the team, I feel like he's a smart man. He's he's less vested, like his less emotion. And you know what? Belichick probably would have been gone last year if he'd been running the show the last couple of years. So that's my one.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I
that's
hate to
that's
be so
huge.
cold,
Like
but
that's ginormous. That's like breaking news on the front of ESPN for like 3 days, like stuff
yeah.
right there. So
Oh yeah.
my dad's asking for 2 ponies in that New Year's resolution.
Yes.
I think that yeah, you're right. It would be nice to see Jonathan. I think one of the things that soured me the most, and just I hope this is wrong. I don't know where I heard it from, so I probably shouldn't even say it. But the fact that Kraft had the final say on Brady and let Brady go, that started to come
Mm.
out this year. I don't know if that's true, but if he did, come on, Kraft. So, if anything, I would have wanted more emotion there. Tom Brady might even still be playing right now if he was on our team. So, yeah, I don't think that's a bad one, Dad. So, those are our New Year's resolutions. If anybody could take this video and get it to these front offices, I think they would benefit from hearing our wise words and our hopes and dreams.
Here lies Squidward's hopes and dreams. What a baby.
Because
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's gonna be heard. So yeah, I think that's the podcast. Another nice long one. We got a lot of content here. Any final thoughts, Dad, as we try and go to bed here?
No, as I always ask, please share. And thank you for tuning in. We'll be back again next week.
Yep. Even if you hated it, you loved it, doesn't matter. You still took the time to listen, and we sincerely appreciate it. We love all feedback, and we're going to interact with everybody who comments on the podcast, no matter what. So thank you for everybody for everything. So we genuinely appreciate it, negative or positive. So yeah, I hope everybody has a good night. Happy New Year in the next couple days.
Happy New Year.
See ya. Bye bye.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, where to begin?